The moment Elena Martinez's voice cracked over the phone, saying, "I need to cancel the birthday cake," she didn't know that someone was listening. She didn't know that her whispered heartbreak would change everything. And she certainly didn't know that the man standing 3 feet away, pretending to examine cupcakes in the bakery display, was worth more money than she'd see in 10 lifetimes. "I'm so sorry," Elena continued, her hand trembling as she gripped her old flip phone. "I know it's last minute, but I just can't afford it anymore. Something came up with my car, and—" Her voice dissolved into silence. Through the phone, the bakery owner's sympathetic sigh was almost audible. It was a Tuesday afternoon in a small bakery in Austin, Texas, and Marcus Wellington had stopped in on impulse. The billionaire tech mogul had been driving back from a disappointing board meeting when he spotted the cheerful striped awning. Something about it reminded him of simpler times. Before the private jets and penthouse suites, he'd pulled over thinking a good cup of coffee might clear his head. Now, as he stood frozen by the display case, he watched the young woman's shoulders shake. She was maybe 30, wearing scrubs decorated with cartoon characters. Her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and she clutched a worn purse like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Yes, I understand there's a cancellation fee," Elena said quietly. "Could I pay it in 2 installments? I get paid again next Friday." She listened, nodded, then whispered, "Thank you for understanding." It was supposed to be Spider-Man themed. "He's turning 7, but he'll understand. Kids are resilient, right?" Marcus felt something twist in his chest. He thought of his own 7th birthday, the elaborate party his parents had thrown at their country club. He'd had 3 birthday cakes that year because he couldn't decide on a flavor. The memory suddenly felt obscene. Elena ended the call and stood there for a moment, staring at nothing. Then she straightened her shoulders, wiped her eyes with the heel of her hand, and walked toward the exit. Marcus found himself moving before he could think. "Excuse me," he said. She turned, startled. Up close, he could see the exhaustion etched in her face, the kind that came from working double shifts and still not having enough. But her eyes were kind. "I'm sorry I couldn't help but overhear," Marcus continued. "Your son's birthday cake?" Elena's cheeks flushed. "Oh, God, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't mean to make a scene." "You didn't," he assured her. "Not at all. Listen, I know this might sound strange, but would you let me pay for the cake?" She blinked. "What? No, I couldn't possibly—" "Please," Marcus interrupted gently. "I'm a father, too." "Well, I was." The lie came easily, softening his approach. "I know how much these things matter to kids. It would mean a lot to me." Elena shook her head firmly. "That's incredibly kind, but I can't accept charity from a stranger." "We'll be fine. I'll make him a cake at home." Marcus watched her walk away, and something his grandmother used to say echoed in his mind. "Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is accept help." But he also understood pride. He'd built an empire on it. He approached the bakery counter where a middle-aged woman with flour on her apron watched him with knowing eyes. "The Spider-Man cake she canceled," Marcus said. "I'd like to pay for it. Actually, I'd like to upgrade it. Your best work. And I need you to tell her there was a mistake with the cancellation fee, that it's been waived and the cake is paid for." The baker smiled. "She won't accept it if she knows it's charity. Then tell her it's a birthday program the bakery runs. Tell her she was randomly selected. Tell her whatever you need to. Just make sure that little boy gets his cake." The woman studied him. "Who are you?" "Just someone who can help. And I'd like to do more." Marcus pulled out his wallet, then paused. "What's her story?" The baker glanced toward the door where Elena had disappeared. "Elena works 2 jobs as a nursing assistant. Her husband died 3 years. Ago. Cancer. Left her with medical debt that would crush most people. She's raising Miguel alone, and that kid is her whole world. She brings him here sometimes on her break. Sweetest boy you'd ever meet, always thanking everyone for everything." Marcus felt that twist in his chest again, sharper this time. "What else does she need?" "What doesn't she need?" the baker said sadly. "Her car's dying. She's behind on rent, but she'd never ask for help. She's got too much pride." "Pride doesn't keep you warm at night," Marcus murmured. He was already thinking, calculating, planning. "I need you to do something else for me. I need Elena's full name and address. And before you say no, hear me out. That evening, Marcus sat in his downtown office with his assistant, Jennifer, who'd worked with him for 15 years, and knew him well enough to recognize when he was onto something. Find out everything, Marcus instructed. Her debts, her landlord, where she works, what kind of car she drives. I want a complete picture by tomorrow morning. And Jennifer, discretion is everything here. She can't know it's coming from me. What are you planning? Jennifer asked, though her smile suggested she already knew. Something I should have done a long time ago. I'm worth $4 billion, and what have I done with it? Built a bigger company. Bought expensive things. This woman is working herself to death trying to give her son a normal life. That's real wealth. That's what matters. Over the next week, Marcus became a ghost benefactor. Elena's landlord received an anonymous payment covering 6 months of rent, along with a bonus for maintaining such a kind relationship with his tenants. The auto shop where her 15-year-old sedan was being held received payment in full, plus money for a complete overhaul. The hospital holding her late. Husband's medical debt received, a check that cleared the balance entirely. But Marcus didn't stop there. He created something bigger. He established the Wellington Foundation for Working Families, seeding it with $50 million. The mission was simple. Identify hard-working families, struggling despite their best efforts, and provide them with the support they needed to thrive, not just survive. Elena became the foundation's first recipient, though she didn't know it yet. On Miguel's 7th birthday, Elena picked up a cake from the bakery. That was twice as beautiful as anything she'd ordered. The baker spun a story about a birthday program, and though Elena's eyes were suspicious, she accepted it with tears of gratitude. That same day, she received a letter at home. Inside was documentation showing her debts had been cleared and information about the Wellington Foundation. The letter explained she'd been selected for assistance based on recommendations from her community. Enclosed was a check for $25,000, designated for family stability and future planning. Elena collapsed on her worn couch, sobbing so hard that Miguel ran to her in alarm. "Mama, what's wrong?" he asked, his new Spider-Man toy clutched in his small hands. "Nothing's wrong, baby," she managed. "Everything's right. Everything's finally right." 2 months later, the foundation held its first annual gala. Marcus insisted that all recipients be invited as guests of honor. Elena almost didn't come, uncomfortable with the attention and the formal setting. But the foundation had given her family breathing room for the first time in years, and she wanted to say thank you. When she walked into the ballroom, she froze. Standing near the entrance, greeting guests, was the man from the bakery. Their eyes met across the room, and Marcus smiled. He made his way to her, and Elena's hand flew to her mouth. "It was you," she whispered. "All of it." "But why?" "Because I could," Marcus said simply. "And because you reminded me of what my grandmother used to say. She told me that wealth isn't measured by what you keep, but by what you give away." I'd forgotten that somewhere along the way. Tears streamed down Elena's face. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already have. You showed me what real strength looks like. You showed me what matters." He paused, then added, "The foundation is going to help 1,000 families this year. 10,000 next year, all because I saw a mother willing to sacrifice for her child. You started something bigger than you know." Elena hugged him then, this stranger who'd become their guardian angel. Around them, other families were sharing their own stories of unexpected grace, of burdens lifted, of hope restored. In that moment, Marcus understood something profound. His billions had bought him power, influence, and comfort. But this, standing in a room full of people whose lives had been transformed, feeling the weight of genuine gratitude. This was the first time his wealth had bought him something real. It had bought him purpose. Miguel tugged on his mother's dress. "Mama, is this the cake man?" "Yes, baby," Elena said, wiping her eyes. The 7-year-old looked up at Marcus with solemn brown eyes. "Thank you for my Spider-Man cake. It was the best cake ever. Mama says you helped us a lot." Marcus crouched down to the boy's level, and for the first time in years, felt tears in his own eyes. "You're very welcome, Miguel. You've got a pretty amazing mom." "I know," Miguel said seriously. "She's a superhero. But I think maybe you are too." As Marcus watched Elena and Miguel walk away, hand in hand, he realized the truth in those innocent words. He'd spent his life building an empire, chasing success, accumulating more money than he could ever spend. But it took a struggling single mother canceling her son's birthday cake to teach him what it really meant to be rich. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest ripples. Sometimes a whispered phone call in a bakery can change the world. And sometimes being a hero isn't about having superpowers. It's simply about having the courage to care.